The people who feel emptiest are usually the ones with the most going on. Full calendar, full inbox, full apartment, paid for with a job everyone tells them to be grateful for. And still, somewhere around midnight, a phone lights up on the nightstand, and nobody's proud of why they check it. Not a text from anyone who matters, just the reflex. So here's the question worth sitting with tonight. Why can a life that looks completely full still feel almost empty inside? By the end, that phone on the nightstand won't look like a distraction anymore. The corner office. So what happens when you get everything you asked for? Imagine, Tuesday night, 7:40, and you're still in the car. Garage door open behind you like it's been waiting. Your name is on a door now. An actual door. 3rd floor, glass. There's a title under it. The kind you used to practice saying in the mirror at 25. The promotion came through in June. The corner office in August. You picked out the chair yourself. The good one. It cost more than your first month's rent ever did. And none of that is in front of you right now. What's in front of you is the steering wheel. Your own hands on it, not moving. You keep waiting for the part where it lands. Where the thing you climb toward finally sits down inside your chest and stays. It hasn't. Not tonight. Not most nights this year, if you're honest. There's a phone somewhere upstairs. It'll light up at 2 a.m. Some message from someone on the other coast. You'll answer it. Answering things is what you're good at. Here's what nobody tells you about the list. You checked every box on it. The title, the office, the number on the paycheck that would have stopped 25-year-old you cold. Every box. What you never did was write down why the list mattered in the first place. Not once. You just trusted it would matter. You trusted enough boxes checked would add up to something you could feel. The way a full tank adds up to miles you'll actually drive. Achievement pays out in one currency. It's just not the currency your chest was asking for. So you sit there, another minute. Keys still in your hand, and you start doing something you haven't done in years. You start asking what was supposed to be under all of it, what the list was even standing on. What used to hold it up? But your grandfather never had this problem. Ask him why he got up in the morning. He wouldn't even blink. Church on Sunday. The same job for 40 years. Same lunch pail, same seat at the counter, where the waitress knew his order before he sat down. Every neighbor on that street could say his name on sight. He didn't choose that life. It was handed to him. And the handing over came with an answer already built in. You weren't handed anything. You were handed a menu. 100 cities you could live in. 12 careers you could try on and shed like old jackets. Religion is optional now. So is community. Even the neighbors next door are strangers you wave at twice a year. More doors than he ever saw in his whole life, and somehow you're the one standing in the hallway. Unable to pick one. Wondering why none of them lead anywhere. Picture this. The psychiatrist Viktor Frankl had a name for this. He coined it while trying to explain something strange. So many people had food, shelter, and freedom. And still, they felt like they were drowning. He called it the existential vacuum. Not boredom. You can fix boredom with a hobby or a weekend trip. This is different. This is a hollow space shaped exactly like a life. It's sitting there, waiting. And it already has your name carved into it. Frankl noticed something else, too. Leave that space empty long enough, and it doesn't just sit quiet. It starts pulling things in. Anger that shows up for no reason. Habits you can't put down. A weight in your chest you can't explain to anyone at the dinner table. And here's the part that should bother you. You're not alone in that hallway. Somewhere out there, right now, a few hundred people have your number saved in their phone. 200 friends, 0 calls. So you open the app one more time before bed. The number sits right there under your story. Hundreds of views. Hundreds of people scrolled past your face today, thumbs still moving, already gone. Not one of them knows you cried in the shower on Sunday. Water running loud enough to cover the sound. Forehead against the tile, and nobody saw that story. That one didn't get posted. Suppose this way. You could probably list what 10 different people ate for breakfast this week. The oatmeal, the iced coffee, the eggs someone plated just right for the camera. Now try the other list. Name one thing any of them are actually afraid of. Losing a parent, failing out, being left. Go ahead, sit with that for a second. Come up empty? That's not a coincidence. That's the whole system working exactly as built. Because the platforms never promised depth, they promised reach. And reach is just a bigger room full of people who glance at you and move on. You end up watched by hundreds, and known by maybe 2. Sometimes 1. Sometimes, if you're honest with yourself, at 2 in the morning, phone still lit up in your hand, the number might be 0. More watched than known. Nobody prints that math on the app icon right next to the little red notification bubble. But it's the real count, and your body keeps track of it even when your mind won't admit it. Which is why the loneliest people you'll ever meet are the ones with the fullest feeds. Here's the part that should worry you more. That gap between being seen and being known doesn't just sit there quietly. It presses on something. It starts leaking out sideways into how you sleep. What you reach for, who you snap at for no reason. And once you notice where it's leaking, you can't really unsee it. The Triad nobody names. So, the empty room stays quiet only for a while. Frankl noticed that too. He said, the vacuum almost never sits still. It leaks out sideways, and it wears a disguise good enough to fool the person carrying it. Picture the guy at the coffee shop. The one who orders an oat milk latte and gets whole milk instead. He doesn't just correct it, he snaps. Voice too sharp for a $2 mistake, and the barista just blinks at him. And he walks out already a little ashamed of himself. That's not about the milk. Or picture your own phone, lit up on the nightstand at 2 in the morning. You're not even reading anything anymore. Just thumb, scroll, some video you won't remember by breakfast. You couldn't explain it to yourself if someone asked. You just couldn't put the phone down. Or the heaviness. Same day, almost the same hour, every single week. Sunday, 5 o'clock, right on schedule. No name attached to it. Just a weight that shows up like it's got a standing appointment. Frankl had a name for this pattern. He called it the mass neurotic triad. Aggression, addiction, depression. The everyday undiagnosed versions, not just the ones that end up in a chart. And here's the part that should stop you for a second. None of it looks like emptiness. It looks like a short temper, a bad habit, a rough week. It looks like anything but the thing it actually is. Which means the room you thought was quiet was never quiet. It was talking the whole time. In your temper, in your thumb, on your Sunday. You just weren't reading it as a sentence. So, hang on to that 5 o'clock feeling. It comes back, not as an explanation, but as the first real clue for what meaning actually turns out to be. Meaning, as a question, you answer. Now, here's the part nobody wants to hear at 2 in the morning. Phone still lit up beside the bed. No app is going to hand you your purpose. It doesn't live in a search bar. It's not sitting in some drawer, waiting for you to finally clean the place out and find it under old receipts. Consider this way. You've got your sister's name in your phone, and a text you started 3 times and deleted 3 times. Something like, I'm sorry about Thanksgiving. Your thumb's been hovering over send for a week, And somewhere in you is this idea that meaning will show up first, some clean surge of certainty, and then you'll act. Braver you, better timed. It doesn't work that way. It never has. The meaning isn't waiting on the other side of the choice. It's not about finding it. It's about building it, one plain honest choice at a time, whether you feel ready or not. You send a text, half scared and half numb, and something in the room shifts. Not because you felt it coming, because you did it anyway. Same with the call you keep rehearsing in the shower instead of making. Same with showing up to the thing you said you'd show up to, even on the day you'd rather stay under the covers. Nobody's handed a reason first. You make the reason true by doing the next honest thing. And only then does it start to feel like something solid under your feet. Which sounds simple enough at noon, with coffee, sunlight, your calendar open. But you already know the hour when it gets hard to believe any of this. When the room goes quiet, and the ceiling's the only thing looking back at you. That's the hour this idea actually gets tested. Not in daylight. The phone goes dark. So what do you do with the question, once you've carried it around all day, and it still won't answer itself? Think about it. Your phone dies at midnight. Not the usual thing, where it lights up on the nightstand at 2 a.m. and drags you out of sleep. The opposite. The screen just goes black and stays black. And you're lying there with no scroll, no notifications, nothing to check. Just the ceiling above you. And somewhere down the hall, the low hum of the refrigerator kicking on. That quiet feels like nothing at first. Empty. But sit in it a minute longer, and it starts to feel less like nothing. And more like a room in your own house you've been avoiding. A room you built a long time ago, and then shut the door on. Because it was easier than walking back in. The ache you've been calling emptiness, the one that shows up on the drive home. Or at your desk at 4 p.m, was never the wound itself. It was the signal. Somewhere in there, something is still alive. A friendship you let go quiet. A version of work that used to mean something before it turned into a paycheck. A conversation you've been putting off with someone across the table from you every night. It's been asking to be heard for a while now. And every scroll, every show, every distraction was just you turning the volume down instead of walking in and answering. Imagine this way. A smoke alarm going off at 3 a.m. isn't the disaster. It's telling you where to look. The emptiness works the same way, except the fire's been smoldering for years, and you've gotten good at sleeping through the alarm. So, if the ache is a signal and not a life sentence, the real question isn't how to make it stop. It's what happens the moment you stop running from it and start asking what it's actually been trying to tell you. A life can look completely full and still feel empty, because fullness was never what held it up. Often, the fullest lives have the least underneath. No old scaffolding of faith, no career that still means something. Just a schedule, and a phone filling the gap where a person used to be. That hollow feeling at 2 a.m. isn't proof something is wrong with you. It's the vacuum Viktor Frankl described, doing exactly what it does when the old supports thin out. Meaning was never going to arrive lit up on a screen. It shows up in the next call you actually make. The next choice that's yours, not your feed's. So maybe tonight, put the phone down and make the call.